good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Ad America. Thank you, everyone. For those of you new here, Ad America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, the place to learn more about American culture. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Aldi, and I'll be your e-guide for today's event, Empowering the Future, MICE Ecosystems for Global Collaboration. Tepuk tangan dulu untuk kita semua. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And now let us hear the first opening remark for today from the Deputy Assistant of MICE, Ministry of Tourism of the Republic of Indonesia. Please welcome Bapak Titus Harijari, SS.
Esteemed guests from all my stakeholders and industries, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Shalom, salam sejahtera, salam kebajikan buat kita semua. His Excellency Miss Marcy Carroll, Regional Public Engagement Specialist from the Embassy of United States, and His Excellency Miss Nurul Intan Pratiwi, Deputy Director of Student Affairs, State Politeknik of Jakarta, Miss Liz Mariam, Head of Business Administration, Department State Politeknik of Jakarta, representative from the Department of Tourism and Creative Economy of Jakarta, all the speakers from the talk show, Miss Raty Ning, from ICCA Indonesia Chairman, and Mr. Miklos Gaspar, if I'm not mistaken, representative of United Nations in Indonesia, and my stakeholder, and all my stakeholder. Good afternoon, everybody. It is a great honor for me to be here today, representing the Ministry of Tourism Republic of Indonesia for the pre-event of INAMICE 2025. First and foremost, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the organizer of INAMICE and State Politeknik of Jakarta for their continuous dedication in strengthening Indonesia MICE industry. INAMICE has proven to be an invaluable platform for fostering discussion, collaboration, and innovation in the MICE, bringing together industry from professional, policymaker, and academic to collaborate and innovate for a better future. Today's discussion on transforming Jakarta, optimizing sustainable development through Green MICE initiative is incredibly relevant, especially as Jakarta embarks on its transformation into Daerah Khusus Jakarta. This transition presents both opportunities and challenges for Jakarta to become a premier MICE destination with its world-class infrastructures, global connectivity, and strong business ecosystem. Jakarta has the potential to position itself as a leading MICE hub in the region. However, to sustain its growth and competitiveness, the city must embrace sustainability as a core principle of its development. Distinguished guests, honorable speakers, and esteemed participants, the Indonesian government is fully committed to sustainable tourism development in line with our net zero emission 2060 target. Recognizing the urgency of integrating sustainability into the MICE sector, the Ministry of Tourism through the Assistant Deputy for MICE has taken a proactive step by developing Indonesia roadmap for sustainable MICE. This roadmap serves as a strategic guide to transform Indonesia MICE industry into a more environmentally responsible, socially inclusive, and economically viable sector. The roadmap outlines a phased approach until 2050 ensuring that sustainability principles are gradually but consistently integrated into every aspect of MICE operation. It covers key areas such as eco-friendly venues and event planning to reduce carbon footprint, waste management and resource efficiency to minimize environmental impact, green technology adoption for innovative and sustainably event solution, stakeholder collaboration to ensure long-term success. By implementing these strategies, we are not only aligning with global sustainability standards, but also strengthening Indonesia's position as a responsible and competitiveness MICE destination. Jakarta, as DKJ, must take the lead in this transformation. With its economic significance and international influence, Jakarta has the potential to become a pioneer in sustainably MICE practices, setting an example for other cities in Indonesia and beyond. By embracing green initiative, fostering partnership, and continuously innovating, Jakarta can solidify its reputation as a world-class sustainable MICE destination. I hope today a discussion will be inspire all stakeholders to chiefly contribute to this vision. Let's work together to ensure that our MICE industry not only thrives, but does so in a way that benefits our environment, our communities, and the future generation. I encourage all of you, industry professionals, policymakers, and young change makers, to take inspiration from today's conversation and drive real transformation in the MICE sector. May this be a productive and inspiring session for all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Santi Santi Om.
Thank you, Bapak Titus, for the wonderful opening remark. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to our next agenda of the day, our second opening remark from the Vice Director of Student Affairs and Alumni, Politeknik Negeri Jakarta. Please welcome Ibu Nurul Intan Pratiwi, SOS MSI.
Distinguished Ibu Iis Mariam as the head of administration business department, and then distinguished Bapak Titus as assistant department Kementerian Pariwisata, distinguished Ibu Raty Ning as vice chairman from KADIN Indonesia, and distinguished Bapak Miklos Gaspar, Director United Nations Information Center. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon, everyone. Salam kebajikan. Our dear participants join us in person and online, honor speakers, industry professional, and fellow colleges. It is a great pleasure and honor for me to stand before you today at this remarkable pre-event of INAMICE 2025. As a Vice Director of Politeknik Negeri Jakarta, I warmly welcome to you today's event. Thank you for taking the time to join us as we explore new ways to elevate Jakarta MICE industry on a global stage. Jakarta is a city full of energy, creativity, and innovation, and the MICE industry plays a significant role in the shaping its future. Today, we are here to share ideas on how we can build stronger international partnerships and embrace global collaboration. Additionally, we will also discuss how Jakarta can set an example for other cities by using MICE as a platform for sustainable growth. Today is not just about listening to expert insight. It is about exchanging ideas, sparking collaboration, and forging lasting relationship. Whether you are here with us physically or tuning in online, your input and engagement are what will drive our collective success. On behalf of Politeknik Negeri Jakarta, I extend my gratitude to all organizers, speakers, and participants for making this event possible. May this be a platform for insightful discussion, meaningful connections, and actionable solutions that will guide us toward a more sustainable and globally future. Once again, welcome, and I look forward to an engaging and insightful discussion ahead. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now let us introduce the moderator for today's discussion. She's a lecturer at Politeknik Negeri Jakarta. Please welcome Ibu Tantry, Safitri.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Afternoon, people. Good day. Hopefully, you are here enjoying the moment. Thank you for coming. So it's a very big pleasure for us to welcome you all here today, and both just those people joining us in here at America, as well as the people who are streaming via Zoom. Thank you very much. My name is Tantry Safitri, and I'm one of the lecturers from my study program, Politeknik Negeri Jakarta. And today I'm so honored to serve you as one of the moderator, the only one, for this inspiring session. Since inception 2014, INA MICE, or known as Indonesia MICE Conference Exhibition, proudly presented by my study program, Politeknik Negeri Jakarta, has served as a key platform for Indonesia MICE industry. And this INA MICE, our tries to bring together professional, academics, as well as the government stakeholders to explore trends, as well as challenges in this MICE field. As we approach the 8th edition of MICE, INA MICE 2005, today's pre-event has the topic of, in here, empowering the future MICE ecosystem for global collaboration. And we will also focus with how Jakarta can optimize sustainable development through Green MICE initiative. And in this session, we have two inspiring speakers, honorable speakers, who will explore the role of Green MICE in shaping Jakarta as sustainable and globally competitive city. We will discuss how best practices from the US, United States, can be adopted and adopted to Jakarta, and how the MICE industry can contribute to achieving the sustainable development goals, or something that we are familiar with the word of SDGs. And I'm so happy here to introduce you all with the first speaker, very inspiring speaker. She is a chairperson of ICCA, Indonesia. She is also a US graduate with extensive experiences in the MICE industry. She will provide us with insightful comparison between the MICE ecosystem in Jakarta and in the United States. This session hopefully will offer a practical and engaging perspective, particularly for the students, because we have lots of students here, as well as the future industry leaders. So without further ado, let's welcome, ladies and gentlemen, please do welcome Mrs. Raty Ning to the stage. Gaspar, directly. Okay, and another one, we also have very impressive person coming from United Nations. Are you familiar with the United Nations? Yes, for sure. Most people know about the United Nations. So he is one of the representatives from the United Nations. He now serves as a director of the United Nations Information Center. Yeah, please do welcome Mr. Miklos Gaspar. All right, so we have the speakers here already. And for the first speaker, we will have Ibu Raty Ning first to deliver the presentation. I will be about 20 minutes, Ibu. Yeah, when you are ready, you may start it.
Good afternoon. Mana suaranya kalau dalam bahasa Indonesia? Thank you, Politeknik Negeri Jakarta and at America for having us today. I would like to share some insight. Hopefully it will be beneficial, mostly for students from Politeknik. Let's just go directly to slide number 3, please. Yeah. Okay, let's touch a bit about global business event trends. And we're talking about 2023, after probably 3 years of non-meeting face-to-face. We were in new normal at the time. Everybody's meeting online, and then we evolved to hybrid. And at the end of the day, everybody like very eager to meet in person, and this is the result. In 2023, we have 10,000 over meetings all over the world, and the top winner for this meeting is the United States. United States hold about probably hundreds of meetings out of the 10,000s, and it shows that the MICE industry in the States really eager to go back, really eager to cooperate, really eager to engage in MICE industry. And also we know after the pandemic in 2023, a lot of challenges is coming. We have conflicts, we have digital disruptions, and a lot of things that really challenge the meeting industry. But we know with the 10,000 number, this industry is still thriving. Next slide, please. This is very quick. The worldwide ranking from ICCA. You can see USA hold like 690 meetings in person, and we're talking about international meetings here. And Indonesia, they are number 40 with 68 meetings. So actually, Indonesia still has a lot of potential to host the meetings, since most our big cities are ready for infrastructure. Next slide, please. Okay, when we see the United States be kind of the role model for the meeting industry, then we need to see what shaping their MICE industry to be number one. Of course, we know that many companies in the US, they are multinationals, and they have employees around the world, they have customers around the world, they have suppliers around the world. This creates a demand for business events, and the meetings itself, the business event itself, are essential for the growth of the company. Then we also now with technology in the new normal, we learn that meeting can be conducted by online, by Zoom, by a lot of application, a lot of platform, but still the need of meeting face-to-face is really important. So technology become the additional value to make the participants feel more satisfied with all the packaging that is provided. Next slide, please. And of course, I mentioned it before, the rise of hybrid events. We have online meeting, we have offline meeting, and we have combination of online and offline meetings. And I believe all the students from Politeknik very aware and probably already expert about this topic. Then what changed? We throw sustainability into the practice, because before 2019 we talk about sustainability, but it's not the main factor that is contributed to the success of the event, or the main factor that makes a country or a city is chosen to be the host. But after the pandemic, then everybody realized sustainability is important, not only in the meeting industry, but as a worldwide. Sustainable is the keyword in every single line of business, and also probably in every single line of our life. Next slide, please. This is the sample of some activities for sustainability. We have low waste catering, probably the practice of the pre-pandemic. Everybody just throw the waste of food, but now there's a way for them to gather and channel it. Also, probably we have it here. See, tumbler. Like, we don't carry plastic bottle, we carry tumbler. Also, we have increased government support. The government is very aware, local government, very aware that in order for one city to be chosen as a host of meetings or events, the sustainable practice is important. Also, of course, we have innovative technologies. We have AI. We have, I think, kind of like online DeepSeek, yes. We have online translation. So I've been to some events where we don't use interpreter anymore, but there's just a screen. Then it translates the speech into several languages directly. So it's been proven successfully, and of course it's also save cost for sure. Yeah, and you can see this is there are plenty of trends in sustainability. Next slide, please. Okay. This is from 2023 IMEX America meetings. We can see here there are 4 indicators that is very important in order for a city or for an event in a city to have a successful sustainable meetings. Eliminating single use of plastic, I think most of us are already aware of that, but probably that's more in big cities. In smaller cities, especially in Indonesia, I think this the use of single plastic is still very common. Reducing the CO2 emission, that is from the hybrid meetings. Diverting waste, I don't like to say waste because food is never a waste. Like food can be diverted into food bank. Of course, waste can be separated into plastic, paper, those things. Of course, there's tracking and measuring event impact. So how many kilogram of waste that we can gather, how many plastic bottle that we save from an event. And of course, we are very familiar with the term of UMKM in Indonesia. So we engage with UMKM, which is giving back directly to the local communities. Next slide, please. This is just a preview of where Indonesia stands in the world, and also where is Jakarta, Bali, Yogyakarta stand in the meetings for the year of 2023. Jakarta is still ranking number 143. As a country, Indonesia is number 40. So the potential is there. Like, we just have to work harder to climb the ladder. Yes, next please. Okay, I mentioned it before, sustainability. In the past, it's only kind of like a jargon, but now, when you don't do sustainable activities, when you don't include sustainable activities in your event, in your city, you won't be considered as a MICE destinations. So I think this is very important, and all the stakeholders, very important to understand this, then to collaborate with this responsibility. And of course, technology, with technology, everything will be streamlined, everything will be cheaper. We can save a lot of waste. For example, integration of technology, we can also increase revenue from an event, because people cannot attend online. People can reduce their carbon footprint by attending the event online. And yeah, we also talk about inclusivity. So it applies to everybody, regardless of their physical or intellectual limitations. Next, please. Now, health and wellness. Health and wellness also is very important. I think with our day-to-day activities, we get very tired, we get very busy, and usually, like, we have like meetings back to back, very packed. So now when we go to international conferences, or even I think local conferences, you can find health and wellness corner that can help you to restart your evening, restart your afternoon, so you can go back into the meeting and you feel fresh again. Yeah, of course, this is future-ready MICE workforce. We know with the involvement of school like Politeknik, also involvement of organization like ICCA, IAPCO, UFI. It's teaching about the standard of sustainability across the stakeholders. And this four factors, we can incorporate everything to help Jakarta to be one of the leading destination for MICE, especially in Southeast Asia. Next, please. Yeah, I mentioned before, sustainable cannot be responsible of one stakeholders, cannot be responsible of one event organizer. It has to include every stakeholders in the industry, government, local government, the PCO, the event organizer, the participants, the suppliers, etc. So every single unit, government body, association, suppliers, everybody has their responsibility in their own capacity to disseminate information about what is sustainability and how we can conduct an event using a sustainable practice. Next, please. Yeah, collaboration with MICE industry partners, also with academy like Politeknik Negeri Jakarta. Next, please. Okay, this is a sample of sustainable event management from one of the PCO in Indonesia, leading PCO in Indonesia. I'm not trying to be biased, but I work with Takto Convex, so sorry. Okay, please, next. The scope of sustainable activities, as I mentioned, we have key stakeholders, we have the organizer, we have clients and associations, industry partners, society, local government, everybody needs to work together with the objective to educate and engage all stakeholders on sustainable best practices. So we just want to make sure that we can adapt what's already being written as a guidelines, direction on how a sustainable event can be held, then we need to be able to put that in practice. Next, please. This is like the initiatives. I hold the water bottle just now, so that's an initiative. We have incorporating living plants into the decor. This is very interesting because I thought every time I go into a meeting, I've been seeing this, but it's only applied to big cities. In small cities, they still use the artificial leaves, those things, and that's bad for environment. So we need to also incorporate that. We need to also tell the local organizer, teach the local organizer, inform the local government in terms of like small things. It looks like small things, but actually it's a big impact. Energy efficiency. Now Jakarta is big on everything e-cigarette. No, I'm just I'm just joking. It's electric vehicles, car sharing. So we really need to also reduce the carbon emission. That's also one of the initiatives. And we involve UMKM. We support the local economy and also hiring local staffs. So it's been a practice in the industry already. Like if a region or if a city is holding a conference, for example, I pick Jakarta, we try as much to hire the local support. We hire the local staff, so it's safe on emission, but it's also sharing the knowledge with the local people. Next, please. Pioneer of sustainable events in Indonesia. It's 2007, if I'm not mistaken, UN Climate Change Conference. And we can see a lot of initiative has been done. For example, waste management, it's been there in 2007, involving UMKM. There is a collaboration with local F&B vendors in Nusa Dua area. And what most important and also impressive for me is like the organization donated all the computers from the media center to local schools. So it's like reuse initiative. So we know Indonesia has been doing that in the past in 2007. Next, please. Next slide. Yeah, and then recently we have also the sustainable events in Jakarta. This is just example. It's in 2024, just last year. The usage of technology, the usage of LED wall tunnel. Even though it's we use some electricity, but still it saves a lot of printings. It saves a lot of cost from that end. Next, please. We're not using bottle. well, we're using a glass bottle, but glass bottle is still much better than plastic bottle, because plastic bottle, people tend to just throw it away. But with the glass bottle, usually it will be sent back to the company, and then it will be reused. And also we have water station, so people bring tumbler and they just fill their tumbler. Next, please. 2 minutes more. Okay, this is all the example. We can just go to the next slide. Yeah, e-vehicle. It's a collaboration with the local government. Next slide. Then we can see from this event, we managed to gather 2,700 kg of waste, and we divided the category of the waste itself, and we work together with Waste for Change for this collaboration. So there's yeah, it's countable. It's not like we're trying to say this and that, but actually you can see this is the number of safe that we can get from this initiative. Next slide. Next slide. So I want to close this presentation for everybody, for us, that yes, sustainability, we have to live it, we have to love it, because it's not about mice industry, it's about how we see our future life. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ibu Raty Ning, for such an engaging and insightful presentation. So we got new knowledge, lots of knowledge coming from Ibu Raty dealing with the mice practices in the US and in Jakarta itself. Do you know that we have been doing this in 2007? I just know it now.
It's Bali. It's in Bali.
Yes, that's very good, and hopefully we can do better. And for that, building on this, our next session we will dive further into how Jakarta can enhance its international standing by aligning its mice development with the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, that will be presented by Mr. Miklos Gaspar. He will talk more about the SDGs 19 on the global partnership. When you are ready, the time is yours.
Thank you, and good, whatever it is, afternoon, I think, by now. It's great to be here, and frankly, I prepared a presentation. I was asked to talk about the broader perspective of sustainability. But having listened to Ibu Raty, I think I'd actually like to change what I plan to talk about and talk maybe more concretely about some of the topics that she spoke about. Yeah?
As you please.
So, but before we start, does anybody know, today is the International Day of what? Mother language, very good. So today is the International Day of Mother Language, and what better place to celebrate that than in Indonesia? So I want to teach you one word in my mother language. So my mother language is Hungarian, and so I would say Jó napot, which means good day. So please say Jó napot. Jó napot to you also. It's not very often I get to speak Hungarian with anybody but my daughter here, so now I'm glad that I could speak with you. Second thing, I've never been in the mice industry, but actually 2 jobs ago, I was in charge of event management at one of the UN agencies based in Geneva. So I actually, organized events on 4 continents, and I knew nothing about events before that, but now I understand a bit about, all the business that Ibu Raty is already in, and all of you are trying to get into. So let me just do one slide from my prepared presentation. The UN is here in Indonesia. There are 26 agencies. We have over 1,500 people working at the UN. Most of them are Indonesians. So we already practice what she talked about, hire local. There are around 100 foreigners. The majority of our staff, like my colleague who is here with me, Mas Dedi, are Indonesians. The UN spent about $290 million in Indonesia in 2023. So, that's perhaps a lot of money for you and me, but it's not so much money for a big country like Indonesia. And that's because what the UN brings to Indonesia, an upper middle income country, is not so much, money. In a poor country, the UN goes to distribute rice. In Indonesia, there's no need for that. The UN brings its expertise from other countries, best practices, including in the areas of sustainability, that can be shared with Indonesia so that Indonesia, in line with the government's objectives, can achieve its goals faster, indeed towards the Sustainable Development Goals. There is at least one of the slides of Ibu Raty that relates to a UN project here. Those electric buses, the bus listrik that you see on the street. You see, when Jakarta decided to procure these buses, they had no idea how to buy an electric bus because it had never been done before in Indonesia. So they asked for support from the UN Environment Program, and their experts helped Transjakarta write the tender, create the requirements for the purchase of these buses. Yeah? So this is a small way, one small example, in which the UN helps Indonesia reach its Sustainable Development Goals. So, you know, what Ibu Raty talked about is very impressive. Of course, we need to have sustainable meetings. But then I was thinking, to have sustainable meetings, meetings is not like a separate ecosystem, it's part of life. Our whole life has to become more sustainable. And, you know, I don't know to what extent it is. I'd like all of you to stand up. She told us that we have to be healthy in meetings, so now we won't be made to jump around, but please stand up. Okay. Okay, so now those of you who came here by public transport, MRT, Transjakarta, sit down. Ojek is not public transport. Okay. Those of you, so remain sitting. Those of you who have a tumbler in your bag now, sit down. Okay. So you see, you've all done, I mean, those of you sitting have already done two simple things. You've done something for sustainability. I'm not going to make the rest of you keep standing, so please sit down. But it really comes from our everyday life. You know, as long as Jakarta is a traffic jam non-stop, that's not super sustainable. We talked about, you know, car sharing. I've been here 2.5 years. I see Transjakarta, you know, improving day by day. Those little angkot buses used to be like wrecks before. Now you see it's actually not so bad. Also, there are more and more of these bus lanes. So I do take the bus, I must say. I have a car and a driver, and I am retraining the driver, and we're trying to think what to do with the car as part of just everyday sustainability. But you know, people look at me on the bus. Wow, this Bula is so poor, he's on the bus. You know, we should not associate public transport with poverty. And Transjakarta is trying to work on that. That's why they make these kind of flashy bus stops, right? So another thing, I buy my vegetables on the kaki lima on my street. I live in South Jakarta. So I go in the morning, I take my basket. And then the other shoppers there, you know, typically ladies from the neighborhood, one of them looked at me once and said, again, Pa, you don't look so poor. Why do you have your own basket? Yeah. So we talk about sustainability, and people still associate, and this is in Jakarta, a middle-class neighborhood, they associate wealth with single-use plastic. My last stupid anecdote. Last week, I was in a city, not Jakarta, but still a provincial capital. They gave me, you know, at the meeting, of course, like most of the time, plastic bottle of water. I didn't drink during the meeting. They asked me at the end why I didn't drink. I said, well, you know, I don't like wasting plastic, so I want you to keep this bottle. They asked me, do you want water in a glass? I said, yeah, okay, sure. So they went out, took the bottle, opened the bottle outside, put it in a glass, and brought it back. It's not because they wanted to trick me. It's, you know, their English wasn't so good. And they didn't think that I would have a sustainability reason. They thought I was just, you know, again, some weird bula who wants to drink from glass, not a plastic bottle. So, in my humble experience, I must say, we've got a long way to go in our everyday life to become sustainable. So that it wouldn't just be the meeting, but those people also who work at the meeting. You know, when you hire that local staff to cook, to clean, to be the waitress, that sustainability will be second nature to them. It's going to be so much easier to implement and achieve these goals. Same thing, those people who come to your meetings, you know, you also want to organize some leisure time for them. I mean, you know, we talked about Bali, and you take them to the beach and the beach is full of garbage. You know, will they come back? What will they think of Indonesia? Last year, I mentioned this to Patitus, I was invited by the Ministry of Tourism to speak at a conference about tourism in remote areas in Indonesia. Not MICE tourism, you know, like what you call normal tourism, leisure travel. It was organized in Simelu, in Aceh, yeah? I mean, as remote as you can get. Also beautiful, full of garbage on all the beaches. And they asked me, so, you know, do you like this island? Is it beautiful? You know, will tourists come here? And I said, your island is beautiful, but to be honest, I'm not sure if tourists would come here. First, because beauty is not enough. You guys know this better than me. But more importantly, because the beach is full of garbage. And you know, that's because the local people, they eat and drink and they throw the garbage out. In Bali, right, it's different. It's mostly the currents bringing garbage from the ocean. But there in Little Simelu and in so many other places I'm sure you've all been to, it's garbage the local people throw around. So what I'd like to say is that the onus is on us to make a change so that next time you come to an event like this, more of you can sit down at the first opportunity. But also so that, you know, when you are the one who takes the bus, even though you are middle class, when you are the one who takes the bag to the shop, you know, people will notice. And then those of you who are perhaps, you know, more extrovert and active on social media, if you post there about some of these things, people are more likely to take notice than listen to, you know, old people like Ibu Raty and me, right? You are not old. I know she's not old, but you get my point. So it's great that you are interested in this topic. It's great that, you know, when you are going to be leading conferences, they're all going to be, you know, MICE certified. Sustainability certified. But at the same time, we also need to make a change in our lives. So let me see if there are any of the slides I actually want to talk about just for a moment. You see, all of these would have been examples, and, you know, maybe next time I talk about this, about projects in sustainability by the UN across Indonesia. I want to talk about this one because it's not, again, not MICE, but it's about tourism. This is actually a project from North Sulawesi, from Likupang, which is one of the special tourism areas designated by the government. So what the government has done is that they built homestays on the lands of all these ladies like her so that they can have a tourism business. But you know, most of these women or these people in these villages are relatively poor. They have never been a tourist anywhere. So they have no idea how to run a tourism business. So the UN's International Labour Organization, in collaboration with your colleagues at Politeknik Manado, worked with these women to teach them about tourism. You know what in the UN lingo we call capacity building, but it's really training. So that we complement the work of the government. The UN complements the work of the government, working through partners, in this case the Politeknik, to teach these women how to run a business. You know, for most of them, it's the first time in their lives they have independent income. How to do marketing on social media to attract tourists. What kind of food to cook. I had the opportunity to travel here, and when I asked them what was the most surprising thing they learned, it wasn't the business plan, it wasn't the hashtags. She said it was the fact that tourists want their sheets white. What's wrong with my sheets, she asked me. You know, gray, blue, but they are clean, right? We all know we associate white with cleanliness. So they didn't know that because they had never been tourists anywhere. So this project was actually so successful that the Ministry of Tourism at that time, Tourism and Creative Economy, picked this up to roll it out in the other special tourism areas of the country. So again, this is just an example of a UN project. I wanted to talk about other things than my presentation, but I thought at least the tourism one I can tell you about. What else did I prepare? Yes. So there are ways for young people to get involved in UN projects. These are some organizations that are not part of the UN, but they work with the UN closely. UNAI is a youth-led organization, so those of you very interested in the UN, consider joining them. And sometimes we organize events for young people around sustainability. Now it's actually a year and a half ago, but on World Environment Day, we organized a garbage pickup session in Depok together with local youth. Again, not conference related, but related to your topic here. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about. This is my team, all locals except me. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Give a warm applause to Mr. Miklos Gaspar. Now, it is very interesting to hear how to put the ideologies of sustainability to your mind, to our mind. Yeah, so it will give greater beneficial things in the future. And another thing, Mr. Gaspar also told us several projects from the UN. Thank you. That still dealing with the sustainable things. Hopefully, it's still in line with something that Ibu Raty has described before. So, with that in mind, let's open the Q&A session. Now, I'm going to invite the audiences from this room at America, as well as people from Zoom 1. So we do have people join us through Zoom. So yes, you may raise a hand if you do have any question. Any question from the floors? Or via Zoom, is there any question? You may just chat your question through chat box. Yes, we have one. Two? All right, one by one, please, sir. Yes,
Check,
you may.
Check. Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. I want to ask a question for Mr. Miklos.
The name first, sir?
My name is Haris.
Haris, all right, Mr. Haris, thank you. You may go on.
Okay, my question is, in Indonesia, that if we want to do like sustainable product and we want to take it as part of our life, and it's quite hard, because in our everyday life, if we want to buy a water, for example, we have to go to Indomaret, and we buy the Thai product like the water that they sell, and it's plastic. So I think it's hard for us to be sustainable. And also the second is for me is the government itself. As we know that the government has like I don't know, in the US maybe they have a tap water, like you can just refill it every day in your home. But as we know, in Indonesia we cannot do that, so it's quite hard to adapt with the sustainable that we have to face in our everyday life. So yeah, I guess.
All right. Do you want to directly answer it?
Sure. Let me answer quickly. Thank you, Mas. Look, living sustainably is not easy, but it's also not impossible. I mean, you can still, like I asked before, carry around your tumbler, and maybe next to Indomaret, there's a bank, you can go in there and they would typically have a water fountain. It won't always be possible, but we can at least try, right? And when you make a comment like I did at that meeting I mentioned earlier about please don't give me plastic water or plastic bottles, maybe next time they think about it. So there are many things that you can do. Also, most of the time, we actually consume food at home, So think about that. Think about all the plastic waste that when you order food with Gojek or Grab. It is very convenient, but all that plastic that's generated, right? Versus if you go cook yourself. I realized, one of my surprises when I got here was actually most Indonesians don't cook. So my colleagues now started cooking because they see me cooking. But look, it's a great pastime, and you save a lot of plastic and money too. Yeah. So, in terms of piped water, indeed, piped water is the most ecologically sustainable. It's not the case that we have piped water here. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. But at least you can take water from the big gallon rather than that plastic. Also, I don't know how feasible that is, but indeed the glass, you know, I don't know if there's any service that lets you, you know, refill your glass. I don't know if that service exists. To buy it in glass bottles instead of plastic and then you send it back for refill. Look, I don't know if that exists. But certainly the gallons do exist and those are refillable. Okay?
Yeah, I think that's answered the question. Thank you. The second one? Yes.
Hello, my name is Hireka. I've got a question for Ms. Raty. Thank you so much for the presentation. All the data, all the slides are really insightful. I just want to highlight two points from your presentation. One, on the one hand, you also praised the effectiveness of AI translators and saying that it is indeed a cost-saving option for conferences. Now, on the other hand, the other slide also points out how sustainable initiatives should include supporting the local economy and hiring local talent. So I know that cost efficiency is often part of the consideration. So my question is, how do we seek a balance for cost-saving options like this with the need for clear message across diverse audiences, which is basically what conferences is about, right? I mean, the audience expects to get clear message during the conferences, and I think human interpreters in this case are still indispensable. In fact, based on my experience, when I was interpreting for a global summit, one of the public officials listened to the AI interpretation device, and then he immediately took it off and informed the public, informed the organizers that I think we need to stick to human interpretation for now. So that just shows how important human interpreters are, and I think if we need to minimize the cost for conferences, perhaps there are other sectors or options which can be economized instead of sacrificing the clarity of the message in conferences. Thank you.
Thank you. Probably I didn't send the message clear enough. So when we're talking about the usage of technology, usually it goes into more associations meeting, smaller meetings, instead of big meetings like government meetings. I totally agree with you. For government meetings, we have to use human interpreter because that's more like a very official language. It's very hard to be interpreted by machine. But when we talk about how the AI or the interpretation, automated interpretation system used for small meetings like associations, the cost saving from that end usually can be directed to other factor. For example, the local committee can invite local communities to engage in the conference, or doing a lot of social events. So it's not like really being thrifty, not spending your money at all, but just kind of like directing the fund to impact other aspect in the local communities, for example. So it's kind of, yeah, probably I cannot say it's fair, but at least we try to balance, like taking from here and then spending it here instead of like not spending it at all. So even the use of AI interpretation system, it's still at the early stage. for more officials, even official meetings in associations, your service is still needed. So don't worry. Like in the past, as a conference organizer, I was very worried when everybody said, hey, this is good, let's just do online meetings. But the need of having face-to-face meetings like this, the interaction, will always be there. So probably Zoom or hybrid meeting will be used for more small scale of internal meetings for a global company, but this kind of engagement is still very much needed. So there's always a place for a hybrid meeting, but we cannot change the way people interact and put everything into online meeting. So the face-to-face offline meeting is also still very important, and I still have a job. Thank you.
Does that answer the question? All right, thank you very much. We have one more question. Okay, from the floor. Anyone? Yes, please.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Talia. I want to ask some question to Mr. Miklos. Considering that public transportation infrastructure in Indonesia, it's still limited in some area, and the use of private vehicle remains high even with available public transit, what will be the most effective way to encourage people to fully switch to public transportations? And why does traffic congestion persist even in city like Jakarta, where public transport options are available? And what are the key factors that make people want to give up their private vehicles? And how can public transportation be improved and to make it more attractive and effective in solving the ongoing issues? Thank you.
All right, so it's more about...
Thank you. So look, public transport, I mean, the city is doing a lot to make public transport attractive, right? I mean, frankly, nobody needs those fancy bus stops. They're still making them so that, well-dressed people will take the bus. It is about mentality change. I mean, who in their right mind, rationally, would want to sit in a traffic jam for an hour and a half when on the Transjakarta line it takes you half an hour to go from Blok M to Kota Tua? Yeah? Still, they pick the 1.5 hours because it's prestige. So so much is mindset change. Now, I also realize public transport, a good public transport, doesn't take you everywhere. This last mile problem that they sometimes have. And that you can complement with a taxi or an ojek or whatnot. So, you can take the MRT to wherever, and then you transfer to the bus, and then you take a taxi. Or also, I mean, if it's very inconvenient, you can just take a taxi or an ojek. It's not like a one-size-fits-all. I'm not saying you must be, religiously taking 100% public transport or walk. That's, probably not realistic, not even in Jakarta. But we can do a lot better than we are doing now. And between different parts of it, at least on Java Island, I mean, the trains may be slow, but they're always on time. I mean, I'm amazed how on time the trains are, right? And, in Yogyakarta, they built an airport in the middle of nowhere. It takes 2 hours to get to the city. You have to be at the airport 1 hour earlier. Then here you take 1 hour. So it's like, why would you take a flight? Because once you add up all the time, it's actually not so much. I mean, it's a bit slower, but not so much slower to take the train. So, we just need to think about this. And again, I'm not trying to be like religious or puristic. Don't, always take public transport. But there are so many opportunities to take more public transport than we currently are taking. Yeah. And, probably, and Ibu Raty is the expert, this goes for events too, where you organize that event. When you run procurement, which hotel you select. Is it one that's easy to access by public transport, for all the workers, but also when the people between two sessions want to go to a mall or want to see Kota Tua or whatever it is.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. I hope that's answered the question. All right, good. So I think the time is almost up. So to wrap up our today's session, I'm going to mention several conclusions that we can learn together. So after hearing the explanation from Ibu Raty and also Mr. Miklos, so the first thing that I need to emphasize dealing with the sustainability as a core responsibility in MICE. For sure, we have to remember this always. And also the second one, dealing with the technology integration, whether we like it or not, yeah, we will use that. And the rise of the hybrid events, RFID system, and so on and so forth. So they play important role in developing the MICE industry itself. And last but not least, we can get a conclusion that Jakarta itself has potential as a global sustainable MICE destination. So following the information from the US best practices, we can say that we can also follow, adopt and adapt those practices in Jakarta as well. And it is our work. We need to work harder to achieve that and to gain that. All right. So as we conclude, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to our honorable speakers, Mr. Raty, Ning, and also Mr. Miklos Gaspar for sharing the expertise. And also thank you so much to America for hosting this event, and for all participants who are still here with us until now. So me, Tantry, Safitri, I want to say thank you for all, and I'm wishing you a wonderful continuation for today's program. I give it back. Oh, one more thing. Sure. Thank you.
So I want to take you back to Mother Language Day, just for 1 second,
okay.
not to teach you other words. But
it's okay.
Those of you who are interested, please look for UN in Indonesia on Instagram and look at the video we published today about the many languages spoken at UN in Indonesia, both Indonesian and foreign languages. And we also have a competition that I'm not going to give away the number of languages we speak as mother tongue, but if your language is not there, you can submit a video you saying Happy International Mother Language Day in your own language, and you may win a prize. But anyhow, please follow UN in Indonesia for all kinds of sustainability ideas and engage with us. Sorry.
Thank you. It's fine. It's fine. So thank you so much. I give back to the MC.
Thank you very much to our amazing moderator and speakers for today's insightful discussion. And also thank you to our partners, United Nations Indonesia, Politeknik Negeri Jakarta, and INAMICE. And also last but not least, special acknowledgement to Bapak Titus Harijari SS from Kemenparekraf and Ibu Siti Nur Konita representing this Parekraf DKI Jakarta. So Sobat America, for more information about Ad America, you can follow our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and X at AT America. My name is Aldi with the entire Ad America team saying thank you and see you at the next Ad America event. Bye everyone!